everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Another Bourbon Show. Tonight we are going to be drinking what ended up being probably my favorite release that I tried for the first time last year. Last year, 2020 was the first time I ever had this, and it probably ended up being my favorite permanent release. And that is Old Elk Wheated Bourbon. A little bit about Old Elk Wheated Bourbon. We've had Old Elk on the show before, but not their wheated bourbon. We had their straight bourbon. The mash bill on this is 51% corn, 45% wheat, and 4% malted barley. It's aged a minimum of 5 years. It's coming in at 92 proof, if memory serves. Yeah, 92 proof, and the SRP is about $65. Now, some people give this a hard time because it is sourced. And here's the weird thing. Here's the weird yet cool thing. It's sourced out of MGP. But the only reason that there's something cool about that is that the master distiller for Old Elk is a guy by the name of Greg Metze. Greg Metze came to Old Elk from, previously, he was the master distiller for
the KKK.
MGP. MGP.
I don't know. I'm just guessing. Just a guess.
Close.
So basically, he moved over to Old Elk and said, "Hey, that wheated bourbon that I used to make for you guys over at MGP, I really like that. I want to buy a bunch of it and bottle it as Old Elk." And MGP said, "Well, yeah, of course. That's what we do, is we source out to other folks." But they are in the process of aging their own. So before we go any further, so those are the details. But Steven, what do you think of that label?
Well, on purpose, I did not look up what I gave Old Elk previously to this. Because I want to just look at it new. You know what I mean? I've seen a lot of stuff since. So we're coming in fresh. Whatever I gave it before, that's in the past now.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it now, and I think that this bottle is probably about a 6 to me. The coolest part is the topper, which I don't rate, but it is a cool antler piece. That's very cool. I think we all agree. It's a cool touch to add to their bottle. Gives a very thematic, it feels like something different on the shelf.
Yeah.
The label itself, I don't hate either. Old Elk is, I like that it's so symmetrical. You got, 3 letters. Nice and balanced. The color is pretty nice. But I will say that one thing I always point out on these labels is how clear it is that you've got a special release or a different type of release. I think it's kind of easy to miss that it's the wheated version here. I think that's something about the color, something about how they put that label on there. It's easier to miss than some other ones. It doesn't stand out that much that it's the wheated version. So I'm going to knock it a point for that. I'm just going to go with a straight 5. Another middle of the road score to me. The bottle itself, I think, is cool. The label kind of so-so, a little disappointing to me this time.
Okay. Well, they do change the colors, by the way.
Yeah, understood. I just think that for whatever reason, this color is a little easy to miss.
Okay. All right.
I think that there's whatever the yellow one is, Dan. Which one's the yellow one? That one stands out a little bit more to me.
I think that's the straight bourbon.
That's the straight bourbon? Okay.
I think
that one stands out a little bit more to me. But this one I think is easier to miss.
Okay. You know what? I might be wrong. The yellow might be the wheated whiskey.
I think that is the case.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, okay, 5.0. I can live with that. I won't argue with it. I do happen to have also a barrel pick Old Elk, and you can see the label is not very different. It's almost identical. They just handwrite who the barrel pick is from and who it's for, and the various proof, because this one's 114 instead of the 92.
Wherever that the elk topper thing is, I lost mine. But no, the actual pour.
Oh yeah.
I gotta find that, because that's my favorite part of it.
Yeah.
This time of year they should have them on the bottles again. This time of year.
Do.
So
yeah, they do. I've seen them in a couple stores already. Have you actually poured with it?
Yeah, I have.
It makes a cool noise too, right?
Nolan and I pretty much drank the whole bottle pouring out of that during quarantine. So
yeah. Well, what do you say we drink?
Let's do it.
Drink like nobody's watching, because they're not.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
What do you get on the nose?
If I inhale really deeply, I get a little bit of a nutty note, but it's like almost like a chestnut or something. I don't even know. I'm trying to think what this, or hazelnut maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say hazelnut is what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I get some green apple, caramel green apple type.
Yeah,
It's
I
been
like
so
the
long
nose.
since I've had the regular one, so I can't really think to compare between the two or any similarities. It's been like a year and a half.
Oh, it's been a really long time. Yeah, we did that the other Old Elk really early.
It
Yeah.
smells good, but it mainly just smells like whiskey to me, honestly.
Yeah.
Except for that, like I said at the end, the difference, the different note I pick up is I think maybe like a hazelnut type.
All right, give it a sip. Tell me what you think of that. See if you think I'm crazy for thinking this was one of my very favorite new releases last year.
Wow, that hug is very front of the mouth,
Yeah.
as opposed to whenever we drank the Wilderness Trail, I think it was, that it was, I was commenting on how it was like a back of the throat kind of Kentucky hug. And this one to me is like right on the front of my lips the entire time. It hangs with you. It's good,
Yeah.
but it is not what people would consider smooth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, you're probably right.
For the people who would say smooth, this is not gonna satisfy those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is real spicy on the front end.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, it starts to chill out and get a little sweeter. A lot of caramel, vanilla, and toffee, I feel like.
Yeah. I get a ton of toffee. For me, it's a ton of that, like deeper than caramel. So like toffee level. But a lighter sweetness also, like a maple syrup type of a sweetness to it, like simultaneously, in my opinion. But I also get a lot of spice.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's good.
I think it, and then it's got like I don't think anybody's talked about the finish too much, but it's got like a medium finish. It's not like really long, but it's there. You notice it. Nothing
Like
really
Steven said, though,
happens.
first time you drink it, you're like, oh man.
Yeah.
And then once you get like past the 1-2 seconds of spice, it evens out really well.
If you take a quick sip, like I just did a second ago, I took a quick sip and just kind of sipped it and swallowed it quickly. And to me, it was so much toffee that it almost was like a chocolate milk-y taste to it.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I'll say
It
my
is
first
good.
impression is good.
Ryan, I was gonna say I don't think Ryan knows if he likes it or not.
I got to keep drinking it. I do like it.
Mm-hmm.
Real oaky at times too. It's real complex.
I'll say that to me the finish is like a tapioca, almost.
Oh, I don't know that I agree with you, but I have found that, like, we've noticed numerous times that you pick up on things that I don't, and like our palates are different. We pick up on very different things.
Yeah.
Often, I would say.
Oh man, Connor Kelly. I know we got a little bit of a delay between our actual recording and the TikTok, but
Yeah.
There's a couple here. But Connor just said Dan's palate is like his taste in NFL teams, subpar.
Oh, dude.
Which 4 weeks ago it wouldn't have been.
He knows I'm a Raiders fan, and I mean, fuck Connor anyway.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely an asshole. At least you know you've been in states that actually have football teams and have lived in states with the NFL. Dude's in Utah.
Yeah.
You know, how is Zach Wilson doing? Jets. Connor.
He and his 4 wives can go eat shit. You know.
Imagine having a college team called the Utes. Like,
Yeah.
you just stopped trying halfway through.
So what's the name, guys? What's it going to be?
It's Friday at 4:56 p.m. and they're like, the Utes.
We got to go to Temple.
Yeah. Tim Perkins asked, "How is Elijah Craig's small batch?"
I mean, that's a classic, right? Like that's on Rushmore. Elijah Craig small batches, it's on Rushmore as far as I'm concerned.
Somehow we have not done an episode on it yet, but I'm sure it's coming. It's
Me
I've actually
overdue.
never had it before.
What?
I've had their toasted barrel, and it's my favorite whiskey. I think I've rated on the show, but I've not had their standard small batch.
Oh my god! And I've
You
never.
stupid
And
fuck.
you know what we need to do? We need to do a bunch of Jim Beam products, and we need to do a bunch of clearly Heaven Hill products, like their main line, since Ryan has never drank them. Now, there's something I want to talk about, okay? I was busting my ass today specifically because I'm a procrastinator, but I was busting my ass to get somebody to join us on this recording for like 5 to 10 minutes. I was trying my ass off to get Fred Minnick to join us.
Did he respond
Now,
to you?
No, I don't know Fred. But I was going through Alan to communicate with Fred. Now, I don't know if it was that he didn't want to, which is likely, or if he's legit too busy because of, okay, so there was the tornado in Kentucky Friday night, like it destroyed the Amazon facility 3 miles from my house, but it fucked up Western Kentucky, right? Well, Fred is leading a auction as a benefit for the people impacted by the tornadoes. And it's a 5-day auction. And he's the one who put it all together. So clearly the most destructive thing that the tornadoes caused was Fred not being able to join the show.
Yeah.
That was clearly the worst impact that the tornado had.
Talk
but
about
I was trying so hard to get Fred. Like, we were just going to be recording, and he was going to jump in anytime he had available and just pop in and just fucking trash us. But...
Well, do we got a surprise for you, Dan?
We found a guy on Cameo named Fred Denick, and he's here tonight.
And this guy wears bow ties, though. Not as cool.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the reason Fred has taken such an interest in the Western, like, was there an ascot factory that got destroyed? Like, we all know about the candle factory, but is there some ascot factory down there that we don't know about?
I think next door, they just didn't get the headline.
Nobody died, so it didn't make the news.
How many, because he wears the ascot, how often do you think, if you work at a distillery down on like the Bourbon Trail, how often do you think you see a fucking pretentious asshole also wearing an ascot?
Yeah, like a Fred wannabe. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. It's
Not
probably
daily.
It's probably across the board, man. I bet there's a bunch of craft beer guys doing that, like wine snobs. It's probably across the liquor industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Fred's an influential dude, right? Like, I think inarguably the most influential person in bourbon, I would say.
It's like you and Fred Minnick, kind of like it just flip flops.
Yeah. I mean, depends, right? Like, depends on how bad TikTok fucks me that day, you know?
Yeah.
Like, if they make one of my videos disappear, then he takes the edge, but then he keeps the edge always.
Well, historically up until now, but now he's doing some bullshit charity thing. This is going to be the week that I think you scoot right past. You know what I mean? Like that last lap of the F1 race, you're going to swoop in.
Yeah, probably not.
and hopefully they get that Gwyneth Paltrow vagina smelling candle factory back up and running, thanks to Fred Minnick. It's a real candle, by the way.
Oh, I know.
It's great. I love it. Put it in my room every night. More comments from Connor. Before that, Tim Perkins said he got a bottle of Elijah Craig for Christmas. and Woodford. So enjoy those bottles. Connor has called you a Dollar General version of Bert Kreischer, the
Dude,
comedian.
let's not act like.
Tell me
Let's
I'm
not.
wrong.
Okay, so Connor, you could
Wait,
read
hold
that.
on. Before you start, he also said you and Fred Minnick are total twins. Fred writes books and Dan can't read.
Okay, so Connor, as far as the Bert Kreischer thing goes, if you look at any of the like 5 videos that I have over 1 million views, each of them have numerous comments about me and Bert looking alike. People have tagged him in those videos. So let's not act like you're all creative here. Like that's not new. You're not impressing anybody, Connor. Impress somebody by creating a video that gets 1 million views. You motherfucker.
Dan, I just got to tell you right there.
Yeah.
I don't think that being over 40 and bragging about how many views you have on TikTok is as much of a dunk as you think it is. Just from a friend to a friend, man.
Fuck. Look, my 16-year-old nieces think it's awesome. Okay.
I bet. Yeah.
Yeah, we're nearing on a 1 million likes. We're gonna have to give away a bottle or something at 1 million.
I mean, if you're paying for it,
I mean, I gotta.
You provided zero input to get us close to 1 million likes. So,
well, Ryan and Mindigo was the guy. Ryan should give away a bottle because he was the guy who's like, I've never. Is small batch good? I've only had toasted barrel. I don't know. It's like a guy who drives a Ferrari being like, I hear Camrys are good. I'd love to drive one someday. Very reliable, solid cars.
Yeah, Ryan, as soon as you help do anything to get 1 million likes, then you can start to provide input on what happens when 1 million likes happens, okay?
We'll give out a bottle of Mellow Corn.
Now that's a doable giveaway. I think that our show should be giving away Mellow Corn bottles more often. I think we'd all pitch in to just hand out Mellow Corns.
I mean, it's good shit.
Why have we not partnered already with Mellow Corn or like their Instagram?
Because nobody wants to be involved with us.
The Mellow Corn people even? I mean, I feel
That's
like
Heaven Hill, dude. That's Heaven Hill.
It is, but I feel like doesn't their Instagram presence make you think that it's just like that
like
team
an offshoot
would talk to us? Yeah.
I don't know, man.
What about the Fighting Cock guys? I know it's fighting. I mean, it's Heaven Hill too.
Isn't that?
Yeah.
Come on.
We'll just say, like, hey, partner with us. We'll never ask for money or any sort of benefits. And maybe that'll get the ball rolling.
Call them up, Brian.
Yeah. We should just beg them and grovel and just demean ourselves.
Yeah.
Fred Minnick would.
Yeah.
We will lick your boots for free bottles of $12 liquor.
We will never ask for insurance during a pandemic. Don't you worry about us. Let's see. G Mork 666 says, "What does prohibition style mean?" With the Old Forester, basically just a callback to their old recipes.
Yeah,
they used
can I just say nothing?
Yeah,
it means there's a marketing team that works at that company. That's what that means.
Yeah. So if I can get geeky on history here, a bunch of
2 minutes, Dan.
Yeah, I can do that. I got that. So, during World War I, most distilleries had to stop producing whiskey because they were forced to start creating like isopropyl alcohol for the war effort. So it was a wartime prohibition. However, as soon as that was over, it fed right into actual prohibition. And in that tiny time in between, Old Forester produced the version that is now replicated in 1920. And then they were able to continue making it as medicinal. But then after Prohibition ended, they went back to a different recipe. So the 1920 is meant to just reflect on that medicinal version that they created. So
Yeah,
there you
and
go.
Connor also said distilleries converted production to fuel alcohol for rockets in World War II.
Oh, that's probably true too. Yeah, my brain always went to like the sanitizing alcohol, but yeah, it would make sense that they would make it for that as well. And I don't think any distilleries were allowed to like fully make whiskey for drinking during that. Connor probably knows better than I do, but I know that a huge effort was made to change all distilleries to making things to support the war effort.
Was there a concerted effort for? I don't know how many distilleries did this, but I know like several like breweries and stuff did this. During COVID, they were making a bunch of hand sanitizer. Was that something? Did you guys hear that was like a recommendation or a mandate of some kind that they got, or was it just like an effort that they were doing, a collective
Yeah, it was
effort?
just and like Tito's did it. Tito's made a bunch of bottles, did it. I want to say Sazerac. Actually, if you go to, there's a couple of restaurants up here that have hand sanitizer. Actually, like 175 bottles that are used for like Skull vodka or something. Will have a bottle that says Sazerac hand sanitizer. It was just basically, I think, pushing it out. I mean, I'm sure they made money on it, but I know Tito's is all about donating and charity and all that. So I don't think they made any money on theirs. They just made a bunch of hand sanitizer and send it out.
Yeah, so I was talking to Adam from Stumpy's, the local craft distillery, and Adam was telling me that like he did the same thing. They created just a shit ton of hand sanitizer for the effort, and not at the request of the government. They just decided we can, so we should, and we will, and they did it. And even like given the entire scenario, they might have broke even. They probably ended up losing money. Here's the kicker, though: the government ended up giving them, like, taxing them an additional whatever, and they ended up losing money because of the taxes that the government charged them for switching over to hand sanitizer. He and I were, and I mean, I'm not a guy who's like anti-tax, but that I thought was just totally fucked up. Like,
Meanwhile, Elon Musk announced today he would pay his taxes
yeah,
finally.
yeah, yeah. So anyway, so yeah, to answer your question, yeah, Ryan was exactly right. They
Yeah,
weren't forced to, they chose to.
we have a couple more comments. Looks like 08 JK Ginger said 1792 full proof is amazing. And we did a full proof store pick
Correct. Yeah, yeah.
a couple months ago. So if you want to check out that episode, I want to say it was probably end of summer, somewhere
It
around
would
the
have been probably
September
in the
range.
50s. It would have been
Yeah,
episode 50 something.
yeah.
But that
Um,
was a I enjoyed that night. That was a really good pick you had.
yeah, it was I still have some of it left, so I'm sure it'll be finished by Christmas. The G Mork who asked about prohibition style said
G Mork
Oregon
is a
State
great dude, by the way.
Yeah, I like this guy. He said Oregon State University's distillery program switched to making hand sanitizer and passed out on campus for free.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know they have. I mean, that's cool to have a distillery program. You imagine being at SIUE and they had a distillery program?
I know what the three of us would have majored in, honestly.
Yeah, I think I might have got a minor in that anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, it
Yeah,
was just some apartment in Cougar Village in the back, I think.
yeah. 4 years goes, you don't remember anything. Here's your degree. You're like, what the fuck just happened?
Well, guys, what do you say we go ahead and rate this? And then we can keep bullshitting. Like, we'll stop the recording for the podcast. And if we want to keep bullshitting, we can. What do you think?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So, who wants to start us off?
Well,
Autofill, by the way.
I'll say this. I have no clue what I'm going to rate this just yet. So I would say if somebody else rates it first, I'll be swayed and find out if I agree or disagree with that score.
I think Dan should go first because I feel the same exact way.
All right. So I'm going to go with a 7.6. I think that it is well above average. I think that from an So this exact same bottle, if it came straight from MGP, would taste completely different, even though they source from MGP. And the reason is, I'm going to get little bit geeky real quick, is that one of the things that Old Elk does differently, we talked about it on the first show, is that they do a process. I don't remember what they call it, but it's a very, very slow proofing down process. Now, when you, Connor can back this up or tell me I'm full of shit, but he better not because I'm not. When you add water to a distillate to proof it down, what you do is you create a chemical reaction that causes heat. That heat can destroy some flavor. Old Elk focuses on a slow distillation process. They add a little bit of water, let it sit. Add a little bit more water, let it sit. And they keep doing that until it gets down to the proof that they want. And that helps protect the flavors that you taste. So it's important that they do it that way. And they're one of the very few distilleries that take the time to go through that process. And so I'm giving it a 7.6 because I think it's fantastic. I think that $65 is the right price for it. I don't know of many things that have a similar flavor, and of the things that have the similar flavor, this is better. So that's why I'm going with the 7.6. And I think that if you don't have this on the shelf and you see it, you should grab it because I think it's damn good. So there you go.
So Connor said saponification is a very real concern. If I said that right, because I'm an idiot. And water plus ethanol is indeed exothermic.
Thank you, Connor. Thank you for confirming that I'm not full of shit, because I knew I wasn't.
I'm going to go with a 7.4 because I think that I just enjoyed a little bit less than you, Dan. I'm not as crazy about the aftertaste where I said there's like a weird, like sort of tapioca that I'm picking up or something. To me, this has a little bit in common with Old Forester in that way, where it's like one of those, like some nights I like it, some nights I don't. I think I could see myself kind of on some nights I think I could give this something like an 8, and then on other nights I think I'd give it something more like a 7.2 or somewhere around there. Like I think there's a big range on this guy just depending on how I would feel on that particular night, and because of that, and it's more of a divisive quality to the taste. That's kind of the range I would give it. So I can't really give it any higher than that, but I do agree with you that there's nothing that tastes quite like this that I've had. So it's definitely a check it out, give it a shot. This one's not too hard to find, right? It's not all that hard. So seek it
Not
out.
in the Illinois, Missouri area. I cannot speak intelligently about the other 48 states, but I know that in Illinois and Missouri, it is readily available.
But if you see it, it's one of those that a lot of people probably have not had it, So it's one that I think is a good one to recommend, point out and say, hey, give this one a shot.
Yeah.
You got nothing to lose. Out of all this world of whiskey and everybody, you just missed another chance at Blanton's. Just give it a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great price. And if you find a bottle of Blanton's where it should be priced, it's probably right around the same price.
Correct.
So odds are they won't have the Blanton's, pick up a bottle of this. I'm going to split the difference at even 7.5. I like the spice is a lot at first, and then it mellows out with vanilla caramel and that toffee we were talking about. The nose is real good with the green apple. It's complex. I kind of like that kick in the face up front, and then how it mellows out after. It usually is you drink it, you drink a whiskey, you don't taste much, and then you get a big hug. So it's nice to have something a little bit of the opposite. Yeah, I'm gonna go 7.5. I think it's good. I would buy a bottle of it for sure, especially around Christmas right now. A brand that doesn't get a lot of recognition. A lot of people don't know Old Elk, so go in, get yourself into the elk pours with it, and give it for a gift. I mean, it's under $100. It's a good whiskey. MGP. I mean, the source juice is good, so you don't have to worry. Or the grain, excuse me. But
yeah, and I want to throw out there again that the I don't know that there's another situation like this in the bourbon world. There's certainly not one that I can think of off the top of my head, where it's a sourced bourbon or whiskey, but it's sourced by the same guy who created it. Right? Like that's just an oddity. Greg Metzi, he created it at MGP and then decided to bring it over to Old Elk once he changed distilleries. And I just don't know of another situation like that. So it's almost not fair to call it sourced in the diminutive term that so many people use for sourced, which I don't support in the first place.
Another bourbon show. Another bourbon show. Another bourbon show.
Ryan will be checking. He'll be in live also, so he'll be able to keep up with comments and questions and whatnot. But for the most part, we're just going to record an episode like we usually would. And we just decided to let y'all behind the scenes to see things in advance of the podcast. Oh, yeah, like, yeah, so athletic, Steven.
Yo, basketball is my favorite sport. I love the way you dribble up and down the court.
What most of them don't realize that you're like, what, 6'4", but 120 pounds?
Yeah, which is like, you dominate in like junior high basketball. Let me tell you what, man.
Yeah.
Like junior high? No. I was all right. I was passing. I wasn't dominating. But one time I did. Are we on live right now? Can I tell the story right now?
Yeah, of course.
So one time in junior high basketball, I just want to say, I went up. I blocked the shit. I blocked the soul out of the kid. I mean, the most thorough defense you've ever seen in your life. It looked like, it was like Karl Malone in his prime. It was disgusting. And this was a kid named Kobe.
Did he cry?
Well, let me get to that. His name was Kobe. And I just remember him being kind of like, he was one of those guys where it's like, this is rec league basketball. You know what I mean? But he was always like up in your face. He was like that kind of guy, which is annoying as shit. It's just like, come on, man. We're all just trying to like see if we can dunk it. That's what we're doing. And then he was always doing that stuff. So it felt good to just block the shit out of him. But when I went up and slammed it down, it actually like pushed back down into his hand and it broke one of his fingers. And then he was like crying and just like holding his hand and like whimpered off. And all my teammates are like high-five me. And I was like, fuck. Because like the way you used to do defense back then was like people would be like, pick a man. And I immediately like ran over to Kobe, just blocked the fucking shit. God, it felt good. I was king for a day.
How old were you?
I was probably like right around like between 12 and 14.
You can honestly say, look, back in 2004, I blocked a shot from Kobe and broke his fucking finger.
And I do.
Things like that in basketball. You're a great block like that, and then like 2 plays later, the ball hit you right in the nose.
Hey, man, that's the balance of life, baby.
Johnny Bull just said, beta male memories.
Fact, Johnny.
I think we're the ones getting dunked on right now. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, seriously.